Shabbat Shalom. Okay, for safety and courtesy, please sign into your cell phones. Before the service begins, I'd like to direct your attention to the emergency
כל גלגל המתגלגל ממטה למעלה מרכבות סתומות הולכות ומתגלגלות
There are also exits at the back end of the social
כל
Dr. Paul is at Camp Newman for this Shabbat and has already saw him in his Shabbat whites along with Lisa and Ben, who are at camp. So he sends his Shabbat greetings. We're going to begin this evening on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Muachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to turn back in our books to pages 2 and 3. Ask everybody who can comfortably do so to please rise. Let's read together at the top of page 3, and then we'll join in the blessing over our Shabbat lights on page 2. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. You can be seated. We continue on page 20 and 21. But before we enter into the Chadodi, we take a moment to reflect on the week. It's our custom to go back to the end of last Shabbat and then to pause on each day momentarily on its challenges and its blessings. And then we'll come back and welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Hazarat HaShavua, review of the week. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. They're numbered for your convenience. When we get to verse 9, I'll ask everybody who can comfortably do so to rise, face the doors from which we entered to welcome the Shabbat presence, the nishama yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat into our congregation, into our hearts. For those joining us from home, I invite you to turn towards the doors of your home and bring in Shabbat, Lecha Dodi. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabala. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila, la 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 l'echad oti, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha lecha dodi, Likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לה 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 לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Rise. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני המסגולה, בואי חלה, la 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 לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, la 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 לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דרכי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Page 26, חצי קדיש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בעלמא ואמרו amen. Baruch Hu, call to prayer, page 28. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Last three lines in the Hebrew on page 30. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Shema Yisrael, page 34 and 35. Shema Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. We continue Ve'ahavta, page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. So we're going to continue in a moment on page 40. Next Friday, we'll focus a little bit more on kind of our American Independence Day, which is coming up, because it will be the 3rd of July. But as we kind of prepare ourselves, many people will be, if they work, they'll be off work on Friday, this coming Friday on the 3rd of July, to think about, like, what is it that, what is freedom to us? What is it that freedom demands of us? We know that wherever we stand, it is in a world that is not redeemed. That's one of the messages of Micha Mocha. We hearken back to a redemption that once was, but we also know that we're praying for redemption that will be at some point in the future. We live in the brokenness, and yet in that brokenness, we appreciate, we're grateful for the freedom that we have, and we continue to work for expanding that freedom for all. Micha Mocha, page 40. Mocha. What? Go ahead, Randy. Start again. Did I? 2 times. Okay, go. kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilo, osei feleh. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים, לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה. יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 42, we ask the Holy One to watch over us and to protect us, to raise us up, to purpose every day to life renewed. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We give thanks for Shabbat, the opportunity it gives us to breathe, to pause, to reflect, and to connect. Vishamru, page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We turn to page 46. Ask everybody who can comfortably do so to rise as we enter into our Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'Mevi Geula Livnei Vneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar. Micha mocha ba'al givurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman hatal hachayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue with the text of our own heart, or the words of the prayer book through page 62, 63. When you're through, you may be seated.
Shalom. So we already heard Hashkivenu prayer just a few minutes ago. Happens to be one of my favorite prayers of the Shabbat liturgy. So we get to hear another one. The Hashkivenu prayer is, I say, one of my favorite. It deals with God giving us all a cloak of safety, of protection, a good night's sleep, and I do believe that it encompasses on an individual level and on a communal level for the whole Jewish people. So this is a 2004 setting. Some of you have heard it before, by Dan Nichols. Dan Nichols is a composer we frequently use in our services. I think we do his Vishamru for the Shabbat Together service. Hashkivenu, as composed by Dan Nichols.
Thank you, Dr. Polavoy. I think Dan's up at camp with Cantor Paul right now, actually, Dan Nichols. They happen to coincide usually their time at camp. So, all right. So this week we have a double Torah portion. It's called Hukat Balak. Remember, some portions in the Torah are often doubled, and then in leap years they get separated out as we need to fill more weeks. So this week we have Hukat Balak. I'm going to talk about something that takes place in the second portion, in Balak. So it's one of the strangest and most memorable scenes in the entire Torah. It's a comic scene. A famous prophet named Balaam is riding along on his donkey. He has been hired by Balak, the king of Moab, to curse the Israelites. Balak is terrified of this people coming through the wilderness, and he thinks if I cannot defeat them militarily, perhaps I can defeat them spiritually. Perhaps I can hire somebody to curse them. And so Balaam sets out on the road, and suddenly the donkey stops. And Balaam is furious, and he's hitting the donkey, and the donkey keeps going. And then the donkey swerves off the path, and Balaam's hitting the donkey again. That part's not funny, but he is hitting the donkey. And then, in a narrow place, the donkey pushes Balaam's foot up against the wall. Balaam hits the donkey again. And finally, in one of the Torah's great dramatic moments, God opens the mouth of the donkey, and she says, "What have I done to you?" Right? Haven't I always been faithful to you? It's like out of Shrek, right? You get, so now I always hear this with Eddie Murphy's voice, right, coming out of the donkey. And And the donkey says, haven't I always been faithful to you? And then the Torah says, V'gal Adonai et enai Bil'am. And God uncovered Bil'am's eyes. And only then does Bil'am see what the donkey has seen all along. An angel of God is standing in the road, sword drawn, blocking the way. So there's a great irony here in that Balaam is supposed to be a seer. He's a prophet, right? He's supposed to be able to see into the future, have spiritual vision, and yet in this moment, he can't see what the donkey sees. The prophet is blind, and the donkey has vision. And the question is why? Balaam's problem is not that he lacks intelligence. His problem is not that he lacks spiritual vocabulary. He knows how to speak to God. His problem is that he's so focused on where he wants to go that he cannot see what's right in front of him. He has a destination. He has an agenda. He has a contract to fulfill. He has a king that's waiting for him. And he's convinced himself that he is doing something very important. And because he is so sure of himself, every interruption feels like an obstacle. Every delay, it's an annoyance. Every detour feels like something that has to be beaten back. But the donkey, of course, sees things differently. The donkey sees the angel in the road. And maybe that is the Torah's lesson here. Sometimes we think the thing we experience as an obstacle is actually a warning. Sometimes the thing that slows us down is trying to save us. Sometimes the person who frustrates us, the delay that we resent, the interruption that we just wish would go away, is the very place where God is trying to get our attention. Balaam can't see the angel because Balaam is filled with Balaam. And that's why the rabbis are so hard on him. In Pirkei Avot, part of the Mishnah, the rabbis contrast the disciples of Abraham with the disciples of Balaam. The disciples of Abraham have ayin tova, ruach menumcha, nefesh shefalah, a generous eye, a humble spirit, a modest soul. And the disciples of Balaam are the opposite, an evil eye, an arrogant spirit, and an insatiable appetite. In other words, Balaam's blindness is not just physical, it's moral and it's spiritual. He cannot see because, well, he's too caught up in ambition and ego and self-importance. He cannot see the angel because he's too busy imagining himself as the indispensable prophet, the powerful man, the one whose words can bless or curse entire nations. And that is a dangerous place to be. Because when we're too certain that we are right, we stop listening. When we're too convinced of our importance, we stop noticing others. When we are moving too quickly toward our own goals, we may miss the angel standing in the road. This is not only Balaam's problem, it's ours. How often do we move through life like Balaam on the road? We have somewhere to be, we have something to accomplish, we have a point to make, we have already decided what the story is. And then something interrupts us. A child needs attention at the worst possible moment. A spouse or partner says, "Can we talk?" when we're really exhausted. A colleague just keeps slowing down the process. An aging parent needs more patience than we think we have. A congregant, a friend, a stranger asks something of us when we're already stretched thin. And sometimes our first response is not compassion. It is irritation. Why are you in my way? Why are you slowing me down? Why can't you just move? But the Torah asks us to wonder, what am I not seeing? Maybe this person is not simply an obstacle. Maybe this interruption is not merely an inconvenience. maybe there is an angel in the road. One of the most important spiritual questions we can ask is, what am I missing because I'm moving too fast? That question feels especially appropriate on a Shabbat evening. All week long, we are Balaam on the road. We push forward, we answer emails, we make calls, we move from obligation to obligation, task to task, crisis to crisis. We become efficient and productive and hurried people. And efficiency is useful, but it is not the same as wisdom. Productivity can help us get things done, but it does not necessarily help us to see. And then Shabbat comes, and Shabbat says, stop. Not because everything is finished, because it never is. Not because all the problems are solved, they never are. Not because there's nowhere to go, there always is. Shabbat says stop because if we never stop, we lose the ability to see what's right in front of us. Shabbat restores our vision. The candles ask us to look again at the faces around us. The Kiddush asks us to take time, to taste time, rather than just to conquer it. The prayers ask us to listen for a voice deeper than our own urgency. And quiet asks us to notice what the noise of the week has covered over. And perhaps most importantly, Shabbat teaches us humility. Because the great joke in the Balaam story is that wisdom comes not from the prestigious prophet, but from the donkey, right? Not from the one with the title, but from the one who was overlooked. Not from the one who speaks in God's name, but from the one no one actually expects to speak at all. And that too is a Jewish lesson. God's truth does not always come from the expected place. Sometimes wisdom comes from the child, sometimes from the critic, sometimes from the person we have dismissed, sometimes from the quiet we can barely hear, sometimes from the one we thought was blocking our way. The Torah is telling us, be careful whom you strike, be careful whom you ignore, be careful who you think has nothing to teach you. Because the donkey may see what the prophet cannot. And eventually Balaam's eyes are opened. He sees the angel. He says, oh, I've sinned. He says, I did not know that you were standing in the way against me. And that may be Balaam's most honest moment. He says, I did not know. Those are hard words to say, but they are holy words. I did not know. I didn't see. I didn't understand. I was wrong. I was moving too fast. I was so sure of myself. So perhaps on this Shabbat we can ask ourselves, where have my eyes been closed? Who's been trying to tell me something that I have not wanted to hear? What interruptions in my life might contain a message? Where might there be an angel standing in the road? Balaam sets out to curse Israel, but in the end, blessing comes forth from his mouth. By the way, the words that we say when we join in morning worship, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, how good, how lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, people Israel. Those are the words that end up coming out of Balaam's mouth. And maybe the transformation begins here, not on the mountaintop or in some prophetic speech, but in this humbling moment on the road, when he has to learn a lesson from the donkey, when he finally learns to see. So may Shabbat help us to open our eyes, to soften our certainty. May it help us notice the people and the warnings and the blessings and the angels that we might have been missing. And may we learn, before we strike out in frustration and irritation, to pause and ask, what is God trying to show me on this road? Shabbat Shalom. going to turn in our Sidurim to page 253. As our thoughts turn to those in our families and in our lives and in our community and in our world who are in need of healing, of body, of mind, or of spirit. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We ask for blessings upon Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Rosalind Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Brad Holland, Serena Postal, Robert Strober, Charity Razade, Gloria Foster, Robert Gerard, Adele Harris, Brenda Fountain Gerard, Jan Marcus, Al Shapiro, Robert Waldman, Judith Gratz DeLange, Deborah DeLange, Faye Bernstein, Sandra Dizengoff, Karen Nelson, Larry Gassner, Marcia Lloyd, Sharon Everett, Ellen Sopkin, Tim Nelson, Natalie Cruise, Joanne Cohen, Keaton Height, Michael Gerard, Marion Snyders, Bonnie Stead, James Stead, Greg Doobie, Jennifer Lewis, Chris Gacci, Dr. Chuck Lieb, Bernard Karmatz, Virginia Guzman, Neem Geffen, Sadel Walensevich, Maury Feingold, Mark Dannenberg, Lisa Hahn, Laura Zuckerman, Alexi Steifel, Ashira Barbaria, Jack Warshaw, Eva Laxon, Sharon Sachs Regalado, Elizabeth Hoffman, Murnell Kummerman, Stuart Ziff, William Ryan, and if you have a name, please feel free to share. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I'd like to invite Marissa back up to share greetings and some announcements with you.
On behalf of the board, thank you all for being here in the sanctuary and also online. Toda Rabba to Rabbi Kupetz for the messages that keep getting better and better and for the singing. And also to Dr. Running for the piano. And also for to Marcus, our techie. Thank you. Also, thank you to our fellow congregants who generously donated delicious items for tonight's oneg, and our dedicated challah helpers. Thank you for tonight's greeters, Kylie Sykes, Esther Vogel, and Judy Rose. And After the service, we gather in the social hall for kiddush, motzi, and refreshments, and also conversation. Please take this opportunity to get to know someone new, which will help us to continue to build our warm, personal Jewish community. Also, we have some events I like to highlight. We have a busy and engaged community, and please find what interests you in our weekly update emailed every Thursday or monthly Kehila, and or our website and Facebook page. We have coming up, or actually we've had our TBI Legacy Breaks program, which we are continuing. And also, please return the pledge forms. And we also have a blood drive on July 1st, which we have information on the tables in the hall. And thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Come give blood with me, save a life. I'll be there at 9:30, so if you want to come, it's on Wednesday. Next Shabbat, Cantor Paul is still at camp. We will be joined by our Cantor Jenna Sagan, who is also our incoming Beit Sefer director and Cantor. So please come join us, not only for wonderful Shabbat service, but it's an opportunity to meet Cantor Sagan as well. So that will be, because her first day is July 1st, which is the same day as the blood drive on Wednesday. So that is coming up. And then, it's my last Shabbat before I go to camp, so you should come to say hi to me, because then I'll be at camp for 2 weeks. And then when I'm back, then all three of us will be here, Cantor Paul and me and Cantor Sagan. So we'll have a nice wealth of clergy for at least those 6 months or so of the year. It'll be lovely. See if there's anything else I needed to mention. No, I didn't think so. Shabbat Shalom. All right, so we're going to move toward the conclusion of our service. So we go to page 282, in the middle of the page for Aleinu L'Shapeach. I invite everybody who can comfortably do so to rise. Aleinu L'Shapeach Ladon HaKol, Latet Gedula Leotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kegoye Ha'aratzot, Velo Samanu Kamishpechot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. Page 294. Take a moment to remember those who have been important in our lives and have left this earth, those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. From our congregational community, we remember the recent death of Richard Aptekar, father of Jeff Aptekar, of Lynn Elliott, dear friend of Yvonne Cheney, of Laura Hamelin Graham, sister of Russell Hamelin, of Arlene Gluby, wife of Ken, longtime congregant who moved away a number of years ago. Remember the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Esther Abrams, Max Ajmi, Barney Arzt, Evelyn Benson, Norman Brenzel, Stacy Davis, Sandy DeSatnik, Harry Estrin, Raymond Feig, Eric Fishbein, Angelina Flowers, Alan Getty, Helen Goldfarb, Lisa Hirschfelder, Dave Cantor, Paula Klein, Henry Hank Krieger, Hans Levy, Camille Audrey Mann, Neil Osina, Harry Rose, Joyce T. Rosenbaum, Henrietta Rosenbaum, Herb Rosenzweig, Murray Sachs, Belle Salin, Ida Schall, Mabel Shapiro, Phoebe Schneiderman, Jean Schaefer, Chris Silverman, Adele Smolin, and Ruth Thompson. If you're remembering somebody on this Shabbat and would like to add a name to those that I've mentioned, please feel free to do so as I come by your row. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a Yortzeit on this Shabbat, I invite you to rise. Invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise in embrace and support of those who mourn. Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomachon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dukudasha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. We're going to conclude with Biyado. You'll find the words on the last stanza on page 321. We're going to just sing together in unison because I'm not going to lead two parts. So here we go, Biyado. Biyado afki ruchi, et ishan ve'ya'ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. My soul I give to you. My soul I give to you. My spirit in your care. My spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Biyado. Biyado afki ruchi, Beit ishan ve'ya'ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. For those who joined us online, thank you for being with us. Shabbat Shalom. For everybody in the sanctuary, please join us in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, refreshments. Say hi to me in there as well. Shabbat Shalom.